of a memory, an important memory rather, that an author is sharing. Here we go. So a memoir is an important memory in an author's life. You all also need to know that a memoir is written in the first person. So these are the two things that we want to know about the word memoir. Okay, so the thing I want us to just get a quick distinction on for just our future reference, so I need those that are in my first two rows just to pay attention up here, looking up this way. Thank you. All right, so when we're focusing on a memoir, right, this sounds like, so it's an important memory in an author's life. A story about a memory in an author's life. What other genre do we know about of literature? It tells us that an author is writing about their life. Yes, an autobiography. But there's a difference between a memoir and an autobiography. They're not identical, they're not the same. So we see here in our notes that a memoir is an important memory in an author's life. It's also written in the first person. And we know that an autobiography is also a story about an author's life. What is the difference, though, based on what we have of a memoir, our definition here, and then what we know about an autobiography? What do we think the difference is? Probably, maybe. Jarrell. Autobiographies do talk about important things. They do. What do you think? That's exactly it. So when we're talking about a memoir, we're focused specifically on one important memory, just one small portion of the author's life, where an autobiography focuses on the entire picture of an author's life. Okay, I just want to make sure we got that. The next thing that we're going to look at, we're just like jumping way forward. I want us to also understand the background on the story that we're going to read in my first summer. So we need to know that this girl, Julia Alvarez, talks about her childhood in a country called the Dominican Republic. And when she was a child there was what's called a political dictatorship. Okay, so we're going to write that word dictatorship down. Now, a lot of people, just leave it in there. A lot of people will make comments. I've had my parents when I was a kid make comments to me like, you don't get to dictate what I do. I'm grown, or something like that, right? And they were trying to let me know I'm in my place. So when they would make a comment like that to me, you don't get to dictate what I do. What would that mean? In that context, what does the word dictate probably mean? Yes. You don't get to tell me what to do. I'm the adult. You're not telling me what to do. So in this case, a dictatorship, a political dictatorship, is a very similar concept. It's when the leader of a country has total control over the decisions made in the country. They have the final say in that country. You know exactly what I have?
What's your evidence show? So your explanation is so I want you to skip that. I want you to focus on just the evidence first, and then you're coming back to this shows. This shows is how does this match that? this shows that this is right because.
But this got to be the first sentence.
No, it doesn't have to be the
Because
same.
I think it's the first sentence.
No. It can be for the second sentence. That's fine. But what I'm trying to get you to see is that you just need to be able to prove why that matches the second sentence. This shows that the honors were changed because.
Alright, sorry guys. Last thing we're going to do before we get started reading is we're going to make a cause and effect chart as we read. One last thing. So my cause and effect chart is going to be within my notes. It's going to look pretty cool. Cause, effect, bow. And this is just to help us organize our thinking as we read through the story. My line is a little bit strange. Don't judge me. Okay, so our statement that we're working from one cause for the entire duration of the story. And that cause is the Dominican Republic was experiencing political struggles between the dictatorship and those who disagreed with him. The Dominican Republic was experiencing political struggles between a dictatorship and those who disagreed with him. When you're done with that, switch out your journal or your story, and we'll get it going. Okay. We have a couple people. We're on page 116. Alright, so this is my first free summer. It's alright. Are you gonna be alright?
Yeah.
Okay, by Julia Alvarez. I'm gonna start us off like I always do, and then I'll pick somebody. Here we go. I never had summer. I had summer school. First grade, summer school. Second grade, summer school. Third grade, summer school. Fourth grade, summer school. In fifth grade, I vowed I would get interested in fractions, the presidents of the United States, Mesopotamia. I would learn my English. That was the problem. English. My mother had decided to send her children to the American school so we could learn the language of the nation that would be liberating us. For 30 years, the Dominican Republic had endured a bloody and repressive dictatorship. To my father, who was involved in an underground plot, my mother knew that Los Americanos had promised to help bring democracy to the island. Okay, that sentence that says, from my father, who was involved in an underground plot. In this case, what do we think an underground plot means? Not a plot of land, not a farm, not that. So, Roman, what do you think? No, not quite. So we know that there's, listen. We know that there is a dictatorship happening, right? So if there's a dictatorship happening, a situation, don't try to prove yourself, this is what I'm saying. If there's a dictatorship happening, you may put your hand out and listen, and this person is in total control of the Dominican Republic, right? And the father is involved in an underground plot. What is the word plot just there? Not a problem. Like a plant. He's involved in like an underground plan. To plot something, I'm plotting against you. It means that you're planning something. And in this case, the plot is against whom? Probably.
Dictator.
Well, why would it not be against America and instead against the dictatorship? Yes, America has promised to help them. That's exactly right. Wonderful. Okay, so we're focused specifically there. Can I get a new volunteer to start us off where it says you have to learn your English? Go ahead, Roman.
Nanny kept, nanny kept telling me, well, why? I didn't know what my father did. I didn't know dictator was so bad. All I knew was that my friends who were attending Dominican schools were all on holiday and my dictator birthday. The dictator said that the day the dictator became the dictator, the day the dictator, all this time, so they marched in parades, and then we looked at it, and had their picture together. Meanwhile, I had.
Hold on, pause right there. Okay, all right. So we've got, we know the fact that Julia goes to what type of school?
American.
She goes to an American school and she has to learn what language? Very good, okay. So then let's move to the next thing. Those kids in the country that do not have to go to an American school, what kind of school do they go to? And what do those kids get to do as a result? A lot of times. Yeah, they get a ton more holidays than this young lady, Julia, actually gets. And how does that make her feel? Yeah, she's like, what? What? I have to go to something. Really? That's how y'all feel? It's not good. So she gets really upset. All right, meanwhile, I need a new person. Reggie's got me. Thanks, Reggie. Very good. Okay. So then there's a cause and effect question that we have here at the bottom in blue on the right side in the margin. It says, what effect does Mr. Alvarez's political involvement have on Julia's life? We already know that Mr. Alvarez has plotted against the dictator. So because Mr. Alvarez plots against the dictator, how does that have an effect specifically on Julia's life? Yes. She has to go to what kind of school? Yes, that's one thing that is in effect, right? Julia must go. I'm gonna have you sit over here, sir. To an American school. That's one thing that has happened. What's something else that's in effect on Julia? Something else that's in effect, yes. But more than that, so she's upset because her old school gets more vacation days, but then also, what kind of, what does she have to do? Other kids get vacation days, but Julia, how does that affect Julia? She still has to go to school when? So all of the holidays she has to go to school. When else does she have to go to school? She also has to go to summer school. Exactly. So we can say that Julia never gets holidays off. And she has to go to summer school. Which I know about that life, and it's not cool. I'm gonna tell you all. Like, I spent much of your age life, my adolescent life, going to summer school, and I just remember sitting at the bus stop in July at 6 a.m. thinking, "What is my life? What have I done to deserve this? I get good grades. Why is God punishing me?" Yes. I'm not gonna tell you right now because you're supposed to be finding your evidence. All right. The last thing that I want us to focus on. So Julia has to go to American school. She never gets holidays off and has to go to summer school. What's one other thing that Julia has to do? I think you said it earlier. Can you repeat it for me? Yes. this affects, so her father's choices affect her because now she also has to learn English. Julia has to learn. Julia has to learn English. Okay, what I'm going to do is now that you all see how this works, I'm going to set you all into this work on your own so that I can open the second half of the class, okay? So, that means, this is what I need to see. You all are going to be reading. As you're reading along on your own, you're going to be able to see specific sections that say, my book is bigger, so I'm struggling. But it says cause and effect here. When you turn the page and move on, down like that, you'll also see other places to stop and answer your cause and effect questions. Your effect, or excuse me, your cause for today is not going to change. The only thing that you're adding to your chart are the effects of this one cause. The questions are there to help you answer those. I'm going to check in with you guys in a few minutes. I'm going to work with them right now. If you have any questions? All right, go ahead and get started. Wonderful. Okay. Yes, go check in the back. Okay. Those of us that are in the back really quickly, I just need you to stop what you're doing. I know you might be in your zone. I'm sorry to take you out of it, but I need you to stop and look up. I'm going to answer questions in just a moment. I'm going to walk you through where you ought to be in your work right now. Okay. So, first and foremost, the question in this case is the first thing that you should have down. And that question is, how has Julia's opinion of America?
Yeah.
I'm saying it right. Help me out. Because I'm struggling. I can't find it. How is Julia's feelings
About America change.
That's what I thought. Okay. How does Julia's feelings about America change? Okay.
Can I tell you my claim?
Yes, go ahead.
So I said, in the beginning, Julia thinks America is a trip, not a priority. And in the end, Julia thinks America is a need, and you have to go.
Okay, let's work. I'm gonna hold on to the last sentence that you have. So the change in the end, it's a need. Can somebody help me out with that first part? How does Julia feel when she first talks about America in the beginning of the text? Raul. Okay. But you just said that she doesn't want to learn English. How does that make it not useful or not mandatory? I need somebody to actually take the statement that you're making and put it into the framework. In the beginning, Julia feels blank about America. In the beginning, Julia feels. Yes, somebody. Who's got it? Yes.
I said, who do you think America is not needed? Like, that's what I said.
It's not that I don't agree with you. And to some degree, America in her mind is not needed. But America, though, to her represents things.
Oh.
What does America represent to her? What does America represent to her? Yes. But in the beginning, is that what she says about America? What does she say in the beginning? Ma'am.
I know that you said something, like you said, she don't want to go to America, they don't want to go to America.
Yeah, that's one thing. So Julia feels that America is the place where summer school is invented. What else? Abdullah. Okay, that is true. She has to learn about the presidents of the United States. But in terms of her feelings, because that's her knowledge, but in terms of invoking emotion, we know that she gets upset when she talks about the summer school being invented. So that's one thing. She feels it's the place where summer school is invented. What else? Valencia. Okay, all right. So let's work with that. So in the beginning, Julia feels that America prevents her from being with her friends. That's one thing that we could say. We could say Julia feels that America is a place where summer school was invented. Julia feels upset when she thinks about America because, but we want to hold on to something concrete that we read about. We read too many words and too many pages to then invent other words and other statements that she herself hasn't said. That doesn't make sense. We know very concretely that America annoys her, it upsets her, she doesn't like the country in the very beginning of the story. We know that. But toward the end, D'Angelo was the one who had something. Tell me what you said again.
Said, in the end, Julia thinks that America is a priority and they have to go.
So by the end, Julia thinks
Or you kid.
that, how can we relate that statement? That's a very good statement. How can we relate that to her family and friends? How can we take that statement and change it so that it matches what we've already written down? Raul.
You think that it's mandatory to visit America?
Okay. Why would it be the mandatory answer of absence?
Because like she by the end she knows that the whole time the family is not in danger. I mean they could have been killed.
Okay, but you want to make this a concise statement. By the end, Julia thinks that. DeAndre.
By the end, Julia thinks that America is a safe place.
What does it have to do with her friends? Try again. What does it have to do with her friends? Make the sentence that it has something to do with her friends.
By the end, Julia thinks that the safety is more important.
Well, where have all of her friends gone? Based on the story that we read. Tell me that. They've gone to America. So it's not necessarily that her safety is more important than them, because they're already there. Johnny's going to help you out, though. Yes.
By the end, Judy thinks that America is where you need to go to survive or to escape.
These are all true statements. But there is a way that we can make these exact same statements while including Julia's friends and family. How would we do that? Demetria.
In the end, she realizes that her friends have gone to America, but she doesn't know why until her mom tells her and they're on their way to America.
Well, that's a summary, and that's an accurate summary. When we're making a claim or a thesis, you're making a statement that you can provide an argument for. So what you're saying is something that can be useful for an explanation. You would find some sort of evidence in your story, a quote, word for word, to copy it down as your evidence, and then in that explanation block, you would explain just what you explained to me, that her friends have already gone to America, and that she and her family need to go visit safe. But when we're talking about a claim, we're making an argument. We're stating something that we can then spend a lot of sentences to defend and support. So in this case, our question is, how does Julia's feelings about America change? We know in the beginning she hates America, and in the end she likes it. We know that, we get it. But in the beginning specifically, we're saying that America is the place that keeps her from playing with her friends and family. That's one thing that we know. But by the end, what does America do for her? How does she feel about America? Abdullah.
Worried. Because at the end, she was like, she said that, what if they just don't let us in? We have to go back. She said,
Okay, but what does America symbolize to her, though, you all? America symbolizes summer school in the beginning. She feels it upsets her, it makes her angry because she has to not be able to spend, or she's not allowed, rather, to spend time with her friends. But by the end, something different happens. By the end, she feels a certain way about America because it allows something else to happen. What does America help her to do? London. Yes. So how would she feel about America then? How would she feel about America then? Put your hands up, and I know you probably have right answer. Well, first I'm going to say believe yourself. Okay, let's use that word. In the end, Julia thinks that America, what?
Patriotic.
What's the word she thinks of? We can say that. That's
Say what?
Safe for her friends and family.
I said it like 10 minutes ago.
So in the,
I said it already.
okay, so this is how it's like. This is what I'm thinking. This is what I'm
Oh
thinking.
my God.
In the beginning, Julia feels, because the thing is, though, Donnie, you could get frustrated, but the way that you were making your statement, it wasn't this way. Because if it was, you could stop.
Okay.
So in the beginning, Julia feels that America prevents her from being with her friends. I'll go ahead and put and ladies, I need you to listen. But by the end, Julia thinks that America is safe for her friends and family. Now, okay, y'all, I know we have to bring this to a close, but I just need you to stay with me for a few more seconds. So this is how you write a claim. Your claim is not just something that you pull out of thin air because it's like, oh, that sounds kind of nice. You want to make sure that your claim is a rock solid statement that you know you can find, gentlemen, that you know you can find evidence for, that you know you can find word for word proof in the text that says this shows, this is exactly what I'm trying to show you for my claim. Okay, so tomorrow what we're going to work on is we're going to find specific evidence, word for word evidence from the text that helps us to support this claim. If you have a claim that is different, that's fine. This is not about being able to find a claim that's identical to what Ms. Shepherd finds. The point, though, is that we're able to practice looking for evidence that accurately supports whatever claim you've written so that we can prove that what we claim is correct. That's what we work on tomorrow. What I need for you to do is put this piece of paper in your binder. Go ahead and close up your literature books and put them in your desk. Keep your seat. Do not get up. I will dismiss you in a moment. Those of us up front, pause where you are. We'll dismiss your meeting tomorrow. Go ahead and close your journals. Excuse me, ladies, I'm back talking. Close your journals. Put your books in your desk. Okay? Thank you. All right, gentlemen. Close your journals and put your books in your desk. Thank you. All right, I'm looking for those that are ready to dismiss so that we are on time to our next destination. My speaker, come on and help me up here. Those, thank y'all. Those that have pens, I need a back. DeAndre, I need my pen back. I think you're still going to try to speak right now. You said the funniest thing. All right. D'Angelo, keep your seat. Marlon, keep your seat. Thank you. I've got some individuals in each column that look like they're ready to leave, and then others who are just holding them up. So I need everyone to get on board. Thank you. Because you are waiting until we walk out. Okay, my fourth column, stand up, push your Sharon. That's you all. Stand up, push your Sharon, and exit. That sheet of paper needs to be picked up in the back. Thank you. My first column, stand up, push your Sharon, and exit. D'Angelo, stay seated. My third column, stand up, push your Sharon, and exit. My second column, stand up, push your chair and exit. You have a blessed day. My fifth column, stand up, push your chair and exit. That pen or pen shell, please pick it up. I don't care what it is. I take off the floor from London. Never mind, Swede. Thanks, Swede. All right.
We got to go off and down.